Hello, so I got this terrible fern leaf, but it will do. Import it with the Images on Planes add-on and model a plant. It doesn't have to be a fern, try grass or flowers if you like. And now to the geometry node setup. I'll quickly subdivide the model. It's not that important in this case. I want to make it move, that means I need a set position node. Normal stuff so far. Noise texture, color output goes into the offset, and vector math can multiply the strength of the effect. And as always, we will not tolerate that our object slides away when we displace it, so let's subtract 0.5 on all x's to prevent this. I'll expose the multiply value, so I only have to handle one slider instead of 3. Setting the noise texture to 4D enables you to wobble it in the 4th dimension. That is actually what the W stands for. No, that's not true, that was a lie. The scene time node animates our W when I press play. A multiply node controls the quote-unquote wind speed, so I'll expose that parameter as well. Problem: this wind is shaking the entire plant with no regards for the part where it should be attached to the ground. I'll steal another multiply node and set it to 0. Note how it makes the wobbling stop. Now I only want 0 where the root is, and that happens to be the origin of my object at the point 0, 0, 0. Usually I would calculate a vector by subtracting my goal point from the position node so I can get the distance of every point to my origin, but that's kinda senseless to subtract 0 from something, so we can put it directly into a vector math length function. Now points close to the origin return a small value, which results in a small wobble, and further away points have higher values and wobble more. Let's clamp it as a precaution so larger plants don't freak out. For my next trick, I want to randomize each fern. At first, you are maybe inclined to use a transform node, but that one has only a round output pin that can't accept random values. Scale and rotate instance nodes have diamond-shaped inputs, but those only work if you convert your geometry to an instance first. Now perhaps we can randomize it. You can type in -pi and pi in a vector value to give you a full 180 degrees of rotation in radians, and if we build a scene, you'd think we'd be able to just duplicate the object now, but wrong. The setup always generates the same random value. Here's a workaround. Get an empty, or any stationary object really, name it something and drop it into the node network. Since all of our ferns are at different positions, we can differentiate between them in that way. I'll multiply the empty's position with something high so it becomes more pronounced and set it to relative. Now it should always return a pretty high unique value based on the relative position between fern and empty. And that value we can plug into the seed of our random nodes, and inshallah it works. Let me quickly turn off randomness to show you that the noise displaces all 3 ferns exactly the same. That's bad. As it turns out, you can plug in a position node into the vector input of your noise texture and add something to it to move the noise and give the impression of another seed. I'm going to add the multiplied value of our empty position in there. And tada, the ferns now embrace the chaos. I like this as a quick way to scatter some foliage without having to manually rotate everything and so on. Have a good night, you lovable dorks.